Welcome. I'm ElyJoz and you are now in tune to Mind Clarity. Today I'll be talking about 8 subconscious issues or problems you may have that you don't know you have. And I do have 2 extra ones at the end, so if you want you can stay longer, if not, just stay for the 8. But let's get straight into it. Number 1 on the list is holding on to unnecessary energy. And I'll be talking about like the thin lining, like the things that you don't even know it's a problem, because a lot of people look over the small things because they're small. But if you have a lot of small issues, it could turn into a bigger problem. So I'll be talking about the things that you don't think is an issue, but it really is a big issue because everything adds up. So boom, number 1, holding on to unnecessary energy. Now with this one, I'm going to just give 2 examples. And they're going to be like general examples, but you could use these, you could apply these examples with any aspect in your life and you can see the correlation, or you can see how, because everything really connects, everything really works together. So if you understand this, you could add this understanding to other aspects in your life. So if you want to know if you hold on to unnecessary energy, number 1 would be if you have road rage. Now, I understand that, road rage is not really something you can't control it, but sometimes you just react. And it's not about how you react, it's how fast you catch that reaction, So if you're in traffic and you allow somebody to make your ride very miserable because they cut you off in the beginning of your ride, and still by the time you get to your destination, you're still holding on to that road rage, or if somebody accidentally cuts you off, and you're cursing them out, and you're throwing a fit, that kind of shows that you hold unnecessary energy. Because what is that gonna change? It's not gonna change nothing, right? You're not gonna that's not gonna make you feel better. You think it makes you feel better, but you adding that reaction to the road rage and you adding that energy to it is making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why somebody could cut you off in the morning and you still thinking about it at the end of the day. That's kind of the second way you would understand if you're holding on to unnecessary energy. The second real one is let's say you go to work, right? Let's say you wake up, you go to work, and somebody does something to you at the beginning of your shift. So life happens. You can't really control what people do to you. You can only control what you react to it or how you react to it, So if somebody does something to you in the beginning of your shift, and it's like lunchtime, or you're off the clock away from work and you're still thinking about what that person did to you or how you should have reacted, that's unnecessary energy. It's that the time is gone. What happened has happened. Accept it and move on from it, It's really unnecessary for you to hold on to something that happened to you an hour ago, 2 hours ago, 5 hours ago. Some people hold on to things that happened to them 3 weeks ago. Like, damn, my boss thought I was it's not that deep. You're making it that deep. Yes, they probably disrespected you, but that's all you have to acknowledge. Acknowledge that they disrespected you and move on. You don't have to give off that disrespectful energy back, And you don't even have to hold on to it. You holding on to it is only making your mind clutter. It's only making your life more miserable because you're only going to keep holding on to that same energy. And you holding on to the past might just bring the past into the present. So it's the easiest way to know if you hold on to unnecessary energy is if you have road rage. And I know a lot of people have road rage. And remember, it's not about you reacting. It's about how long do you react. Somebody could cut you off and you're 10 minutes in, you're cursing them out for 10 minutes strong. That's unnecessary. Use that energy for something else. Number 2 is doubting yourself. Okay. Obviously, you can tell if you're doubting yourself or not, but let's really get to the thin lining. I feel like the thin lining of doubting yourself is not believing miracles, or not believing that your life is supposed to be that good. There's a lot of people that live life that don't expect their life to be good. Like, they don't feel worthy enough that miracles should happen, if you catch yourself saying this is too good to be true, you're doubting yourself. If you're about to do something and the first thing in your mind is something negative, or first thing in your mind is something like, oh, you can't do this, or am I going to be able to do this? You're doubting yourself. Like that little voice right there is doubting yourself, and that little voice is your subconscious voice. But you can overpower that and put your conscious voice on and be like, I am going to do this. I can do this, you know. But for you to really understand, if you're doubting yourself, and really listen to that subconscious voice and listen to your thoughts when you're about to do something new, or when you're planning to do something new, or it don't even have to be something new, you know. It could be something that you do on a regular, because you could do stuff on a regular and still doubt yourself. Like, you could be living in greatness and still doubt yourself. You could be still listening to that subconscious voice telling you, man, yeah, you did that, but you ain't gonna be able to do this one. You ain't gonna be able to do this one. Like, really, really listen to that subconscious voice and then overpower it. Number 3 is if you have an identity issue. Now, I'm gonna try to put this in the most simplest form, but before I start, I do want to say sometimes you might feel like you have an identity issue on a journey of finding your true self, you know, because going from personality to personality, or like mindset to mindset, you're actually finding out who you are not, you know. So it's not really an identity issue. It's just you finding out who you are not to find out who you really are, you know. To really understand if you have an identity issue, I would say, when you meet new people, are you scared to show them the true you? Or are you scared to show them a certain side of you, you know? That's one thing you could really see if you have an identity issue, because why are you scared to show them your identity? Like, you might think your identity is not as accepting, or it's not as worthy to be around, you know? You might feel like your identity is not loving, or it's not loving, but it's not lovable, or it's not like someone would accept in their circle or be friends with. You know, that's really having an identity issue. If you're scared to be yourself, your true self, when you meet new people, you know, obviously when you're with people that, you know, you're used to being with, you like your friends, you could be yourself. But if you meet new people and you're scared to be yourself, you have an identity issue. And another way to see if you have an identity issue is if you act different when you're alone, or if you don't know how to be yourself when you're alone. Like, let's say you're with your friends and you're a certain type of person, you're happy and you're jolly, but when you're by yourself, you're sad. That's an identity issue. Because why are you sad when you're by yourself? When you're by yourself is your true identity. Like, only you really see who you truly are. Like, when you're away from people, you get to like put off the mask and you start to be yourself, that's who you really are. So if you're happy around your friends, but when you get to yourself, you're sad, that's a serious identity issue, you know? And you can fix that. I actually have a video on that, how to be alone. You can really watch that and see how to fix your identity issue, you know? One of the questions in that video is, do I not like being alone, or do I not like myself in general? Because sometimes you might not like your identity. So when you meet new people, you try to create a new identity, you know? So that's how you really understand if you have an identity issue. If when you meet new people, you try to be someone else, or you're scared to be yourself. And when you're by yourself, you're a different person than you are with your peers. Because if you're happy with your peers and you're sad by yourself, that's a serious identity issue. If you're meeting new people and you're scared to be your true self, that's a serious identity issue. Number 4 is if you're scared to be by yourself, or if you have detachment issues. Now, like I said, I have a video on how to be alone, but I'm going to go into more details into how you really understand if you have detachment issues, or if you're scared to be by yourself, you know. Boom. Number 1 is if you're around people that did you wrong, or if you're putting up excuses for people just to have company, you know, this person don't really like me, but I'm going to go hang with them because, you know, I ain't got nothing else to do. You're scared to be by yourself, or you have detachment issues. You don't want to be alone, you know, you're scared to be alone. Another way to see if you have a detachment issues is you take people's personal space personal. Like, what if somebody's going through something and they have to take a step back from you, and you take it personal? That's detachment issues, because why are you taking it personal? You don't know what's going on in that person's life. Feel me? It's better that you pick up your phone and call them and see what's up than for you to take the space personal, because you don't know what's going on. They probably fighting things that they don't want to speak on. but you have detachment issues. So once somebody take a step back from you, you're gonna take it personal. You're gonna feel like they hate you. You're gonna start making up scenarios in your head, unnecessary scenarios. You have an attachment issue. If people can't really take a step back from you, you have a detachment issue. I mean, if you can't be alone for 2-3 days, that's a real subconscious issue. You know, if you're hanging with people knowing they don't like you or knowing they talking about you behind your back just to have people around you, you're scared to be alone. You know what I mean? And to really put it in a more simpler form, because obviously if you around people that don't like you, you're scared to be alone. If let's say the best way to really understand if you're scared to be alone is if you can't go out to eat by yourself, or if you can't go to the mall by yourself, or you can't go get an ice cream by yourself, or you can't do nothing by yourself. You have to have one person. I'm not saying you always with a group of people, but if you always have to have one person to do something, you're scared to be alone. Like, I understand you have a best friend or you have that homeboy that you do everything with. Learn how to do things by yourself, you know, so you could really release that detachment. Because, like I said, if you're a different person when you're alone than you are with your peers, then that's a real subconscious issue. That also goes with going out by yourself. If you always going places with your homeboys or with your homegirl, you're not going to be the same person when you're alone. You going to the mall with your peers and you going to the mall by yourself is two different things. So really understand that. That can really cause a very serious subconscious issue. Number 5 is if you are living in fear. Okay, now the best way to put this, what I mean by fear is like scared of everything. Like, sometimes there's some people that is literally scared of everything. Like, they can't go outside by themselves. And if you're living in fear, you have anxiety, you know. And the only way to really overcome fear is to be stronger than what you're fearing. Be stronger than the emotion that you get and challenge yourself. Say you are stronger than what you're feeling and you go past it. But to really understand if you're living in fear, this kind of trickles down to like doubting yourself or other issues, but we're talking about living in fear. Let's say you want to start something, right? And you're scared to start because you're scared to make the wrong move, or you're scared to do a bad investment. You want to go out to eat by yourself, but you're scared, you know. Once you make that decision to go out to eat by yourself, unnecessary scenarios pop up. Unnecessary thoughts pop up. You're living in fear. Let's say something good happens in your life, right? And automatically you don't believe that it's that good, you know, or you believe that this good thing that happened is going to come with a bad thing that's going to happen. You're living in fear. If something good happens in your life and you don't really believe that it happened, or you don't feel like it's going to last long, like you don't feel like it's going to be a longevity to it, you're living in fear. Another way you could know if you're actually living in fear is if you go out in public and you feel like everybody's staring at you, or if you feel like people is judging you. Those are unnecessary thoughts from people that is living in fear. And I know some people feel like they can't control their anxiety, but trust me, you actually can control your anxiety. And it's not even the point of controlling your anxiety, is overpowering it. A lot of these issues, you can't really control it because you're not supposed to control it. You're not supposed to hold on to fear. You're supposed to overpower it. You're not supposed to hold on to doubting yourself. You're supposed to overpower that. You feel me? So it's not really in the sense of controlling your anxiety, it's overpowering it and training yourself mentally to be stronger than what you're feeling. That fear is not yours. You feel me? You probably grew up around people that implemented that in your head, and now you're older and you feel like you have anxiety, or you feel like you're scared of the world because that's how you grew up. You have to overpower that. There's no way to control that. You have to be stronger. There's no true balance in life because the good always outweighs the bad, right? That's actually one of my poems. But yeah, the good always outweighs the bad, so why are you trying to control what's bad about you? Overpower it with something good. You get what I'm saying? So that's how you know if you're living in fear. Like, so the thin lining. But yeah, some people are literally scared to do everything or try things in new life or try something different or be different. That's living in fear, and that's limiting yourself to the luxuries of life. Number 7 is if you're stopping the natural flow in your life. How do you know if you're really stopping the flow in your life? Let's say you have this idea, right? And the idea popped up out of nowhere. And not only did you get the idea, you got the ingredients. You got a step-by-step guide. You got your first step, your second step, your third step. And you're just sitting there not doing nothing. Or you're not believing in yourself and you're not taking action to it. You're stopping the natural flow. Something naturally flowed into your mind and you're not taking action to it. You're stopping the flow. You're not aligning yourself to what you want to do in life. Sometimes you really have to get out your own way. Another way to really notice if you're really stopping the natural flow in your life is if you're holding on to people that you're supposed to let go of. That would definitely stop the natural flow in your life. And I'm not saying you have to cut them off completely, but distance yourself at a great amount to where your flow can come back flowing, because you're like a body of water, like a river. If you put a big cinder block in a river, it's going to split the whole thing up, right? Or it might just stop it completely. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you don't even know that you're stopping the natural flow in your life, because the cinder block in your life, it didn't stop the flow. It just made the flow split up. Yeah, this person is not that good for me, but, they bring me a little good. I'm still doing my thing. Like, okay, you're strong enough to do your thing, but you're stopping the natural flow. You feel me? Another way to really put it is you're working hard on something, right? And somebody comes around and they kind of throw you off your pivot, but you're strong enough to stay on your pivot and continue going. But you're keeping that person in your life, which meaning your stream of water is not going straight. It's going sideways. This is you still doing what you got to do, but this is the person that's knocking you off your pivot. They're taking your energy away. They're taking like half of your energy away. You're stopping the natural flow by holding them in your life for far too long. Like, the universe will let you know when to distance yourself from somebody to get your flow going. But some people don't want to let people go. Or some people don't want to look like a bad person and distance themselves to let their life flow to where they want to go. That's how you really know if you're really stopping the natural flow in your life. If you're holding on to things, yes, you're supposed to let go of. And if you catch yourself saying, okay, yeah, this person is not really good for me, but I'm stronger than the negativity that they're applying in my life. Yeah, you're stronger than it. Applaud yourself, but let that person go so you can naturally flow. Like, for real. Like, you making your life harder, literally. It's like unblocking a water dam. Once you unblock that water dam, everything just bursts out and starts flowing. You feel me? But if you're the one pushing the water, if you got to be the one applying the water, pushing it yourself, you're not flowing. You're just working hard. Number 8, my favorite number in general. But number 8 is if you are living in a negative state of mind. Now, I feel like the easiest way to really understand if you're living in a negative state of mind is your thoughts when you're alone. Like, there's some people that have positive thoughts when they're alone. There's some people that have no thoughts. And then there's some people that when they get alone, they just start overthinking and they just start having scenarios. They just have unnecessary energy coming to their mind and they're believing it. I'm not saying negative things is not going to come to mind. I'm saying if you're believing it and you're putting energy towards it, you're living in a negative state of mind. If before anything you try, you already feel like you're not going to do good, you're living in a negative state of mind. If somebody gives you a compliment and you can't accept it, or you try to humble yourself, you're living in a negative state of mind. If you can't take a compliment, or if you don't feel like you look that good, you're living in a negative state of mind. That's really simple. I really don't know how to really put it, that one. That's really the simplest one. If you're by yourself, if negative thoughts come to mind and you believe the negative thoughts that come to mind instead of trying to overpower it, you're living in a negative state of mind. Another way to really know if you're living in a negative state of mind is if you worry for no reason. And especially after, like, when life is going good and you start worrying, like, oh my God, things are going too good, something's going to come. You're living in a negative state of mind. And the reason why, and don't ever feel like the work you're doing is not working because, old emotions pop up, or old layers, or like things you feel like you healed from pops back up, because as you elevate in life, there's a deeper level to everything. Like, everything that you healed from, there's a deeper level to everything. So sometimes you might feel like you have your anxiety back, but in reality, you're just in a higher level in life, and there's a new, what they say, it's a saying that says, every new level comes with a new devil. You feel me? So that new level that you just reached, it comes with a different level of anxiety. So you have to overcome that again. Life never ends. Like, healing is a never ending cycle, but soon, eventually, you get strong enough to where your body just naturally heals itself, or it has boundaries, or it has like core values in your mind implemented that if something pops up, your conscious mind literally knocks off your subconscious thought. Like, that's how my mind is. Like, that's how I program my mind to be. Sometimes I have to do it myself, but a lot of times a negative thought will pop up in my mind, and my conscious will just be like, nah, you tripping. And then I'll be like, yeah, I am tripping. And that thought will just go away. And I'll overpower it with some good thoughts. So yeah, if you're worrying about your life too much, you're living in a negative state of mind. Because worrying does nothing. Worrying causes more problems. You're supposed to be focused on the solutions. Now, like I said, I do have 2 more bonus ones. Number 9 is if you are rushing your life, or if you're rushing yourself. Now, I feel like the best way to really understand if you're rushing your life or if you're rushing yourself is, I understand you're not gonna meet every deadline that you put for yourself. You're not gonna accomplish everything before that age you say is gonna accomplish. To really know if you're really rushing yourself is if you beating yourself up about it. Let's say you're gonna say you're gonna start working by next month, and next month come, you haven't been to the gym. If you beat yourself up about it, you're rushing yourself. You know what I mean? I'm not saying don't hold yourself accountable, but don't beat yourself up about it. Accept it and find a solution. Nowadays, people are addicted to holding on to the problem. Instead of finding a solution. But for you to really move on from the problem, you have to accept the problem. A lot of people aren't accepting things in their life. They're trying to fight it. Accept it fully, and then you can find a solution. You're not going to get a clear solution if you're lying to yourself about not having a problem. Stop saying it's life. It's you. You are life. So it is you. Control your life. Control what you can. Don't beat yourself up about not meeting deadlines, but hold yourself accountable. Like me, there's things that I said I was going to do that I didn't do in a certain amount of time, because time is nothing real. We don't control time. Time is man-made, bro. The only time that's real is divine time. Everything happens on divine time. And I trust and believe if I would beat myself up about all the things that I didn't do in a certain amount of time, I would not be here in front of the camera talking to you right here. I learned to accept things. If, okay, I did not make this deadline, okay, what can I do to get this done as soon as possible? You feel me? Once I put a deadline to something and I don't meet it, I don't put a deadline to it again. I just get it done as soon as possible. And I'm trust and believe. I know you heard it before, but if you give yourself 2 weeks to clean your room, it'll take you 2 weeks. If you give yourself a day to clean your room, it'll take you a day. Like, literally. And it happens to me. Like, I will give myself a deadline to do something and I don't meet it, and then I'll be like, and then I hold myself accountable. How can I get this done as soon as possible? And then the thing that would take me 2 weeks to do, it takes me 3 days. So you see how when you try to do divine work on man time, it doesn't add up. You got to do divine work on divine time. Stop beating yourself up. Stop rushing your life. Hold yourself accountable, but do not rush yourself. Because if you beat yourself up about it, you gonna rush yourself into doing something that you wasn't supposed to do. You know, maybe you put a deadline to something, you didn't reach it, and you're beating yourself up about it mentally. And then the next day or the next couple of days, you just rush into it, and it's wrong because you rushed yourself. You didn't hold yourself accountable. If you would have held yourself accountable, like real accountability, you'd be like, okay, I didn't do this. How can I do it? A lot of people, they don't meet their deadline, and they just try to find a way to just put it out there. Like that's not good at all. That's a very serious issue. Number 10 is if you are naive. Now, the easiest way to really put this is if you are naive is if you always see the good in people. And, I'm not saying don't see the good in people, but don't neglect the bad. Because there is a law that goes, if a man shows a flaw, that means that flaw does exist in it. I'm not saying that person is not a good person, but if somebody shows you a flaw, that flaw exists and is very much true inside of them. They might try to hold it in, but don't be naive. People slip up, and it's not even slipping up. It's just sometimes when you're a certain type of person, the true colors of people just comes out, and they can't even help it. So don't be naive. When somebody show you their true colors, do not repaint them a different color. If somebody show you their red, accept their red. You feel me? Because in life, it only comes down to two things. Is if you're going to keep messing with that person, or is you're going to not keep messing with the person. There's no middle. There's no gray area in life. Black and white. There's really no gray area in life. The only gray area in life is divided, and that's not the topic for today. But when it really comes to like in human interactions, there's no gray area. It's either somebody has the best intentions for you, or they have bad intentions for you. There's no, I'm going to treat this person a little bad, or I'm going to treat this person not too much good. That's not good. It's either you're good or you're bad. So don't be naive. Another way to see if you're naive is you not believing your intuition, or you not believing that gut feeling. Sometimes you get a strong gut feeling, you be like, man, I'm tripping. And then you go through with it, and exactly what you was feeling is exactly what happened. Stop being naive. Okay? Another way to see if you're naive is if you accept people's apologies, but their behavior doesn't change. And you're like, okay, they apologize, but their behavior didn't change. Maybe they're still working on it. Nah, stop being naive. Like, I'm the type of person, if you apologize to me for the same thing too much times, I would literally tell you, stop apologizing to me. Like, I literally told somebody, I've told most of the people that, bruh, like, stop apologizing to me if you're just going to keep doing the same thing. Like, I don't want to hear it. Like, for real. I've literally said this to people. And I used to be naive myself because, I'm a conscious one, or I'm, an empath. So obviously, if I really care about somebody, I wouldn't want to accept the bad in them and cut them off, right? If I really mess with somebody, and I'm really close with somebody, I'm gonna try to find that one good reason to keep them to my side. I had to stop being naive, and it's not like I was naive my whole life. There's a lot of things in my life that I didn't elevate as my life was elevated. Every new level comes with a new devil. So the new levels that I was reaching, I wasn't leveling up my, my subconscious mind. So sometimes it would cost me a lot. It cost me a lot in the past. But yeah, stop being naive, bro. I hope these 8 things, or if you stay to the end, I hope these 10 things definitely helped you out subconsciously. And watch this video over and over again if you need to. But stop holding on to unnecessary energy. Stop doubting yourself. Fix your identity issue. Fix your detachment issue. Stop living in fear. Stop stopping the natural flow in your life. Get out your own way and let life flow to you. Stop living in a negative state of mind and stop rushing your life. Last but not least, stop being naive, bro. It is what you see. Like, it is what it is. Stop trying to paint it a different picture. I'm ElyJoz. Peace and prosperity to you all. I'm out.